Well, today, federal
What to do, everyday people, man? We live. We live in effects. Rex in effects. You know I'm about to check it. Check, baby, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh shit. Get that out of there. Well, shit just be going. YouTube just be going. But anyway, we lit up in the thing. We lit up in this thing. Oh, what the hell? I hope everything is working right. Because, you know, everything is tripping right now. Look like we're streaming on all platforms right now. Anyway, that's what I want to do. I can't change nothing because the system acting up for whatever reason. There we go. Still won't let me change that. But anyway, we up in this thing. Welcome everybody to the lit live video. Welcome. Thank y'all for pulling up. As everybody pulls up, we're gonna understand. We're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna talk about Donald Trump, of course, and the government shutdown, of course, because you know they are trying to lay off 750,000 employees. Wow, talk about the economy booming. Okay. Also, there are a lot of fake marriages in Twin City, Minnesota. I guess it's Minneapolis, Minnesota. I don't know. I don't know why they call it Twin City, but for whatever reason. Twin City crackdown. All right, that's what we're going to talk about. And they're saying it's a bunch of Africans, Somalians, people from Somalia, which is in Africa, the continent of Africa. Also, I want to point out something that they say, because they saying it's all East Africans and Somalia and stuff like that, which I've seen many videos. It's people that have been exposing this for a long time now. But it's funny because when we think of immigration fraud, we think of, you know, Mexicans, Africans, and stuff like that. But I have a story time that I'm going to try to put out tomorrow if I get enough time to edit it. It's a story time with a person from Greece, a white person that's committing this marriage fraud. So, you know, let's not just say, when they say illegals, we got to put it across the board which illegals it is, because there's a bunch of illegals. If you ain't from this country, you illegal. So if you got an accent that sounds like you from South Africa or wherever, Australia, Mexico, and you come over here illegally and you got a visa, once your visa's up, you got to go, or you'll be over here illegal. So I don't know what ICE is doing. I don't know if ICE is targeting the Greek community in America, but I would hope so. I mean, keep that same energy across the board. Anyway, let's get into it.
federal raids, homes and businesses searched, and records seized in the wake of a Care 11 investigation into a taxpayer-funded program to help vulnerable Minnesotans find housing. AJ Legault has the latest developments in Housing Hustle, a Recovery Inc. investigation.
Federal raids taking place across the Twin Cities metro today, including here at the Griggs building behind me in St. Paul. Federal agents are looking for evidence that taxpayer money that was supposed to help vulnerable Minnesotans find housing was instead stolen. Computers, documents, boxes of evidence seized, including more than $100,000 in cash.
Federal agents are walking out the door with boxes right now.
Agents from numerous federal and state agencies launched a sweeping series of coordinated search warrant raids at homes and businesses. At one of the raids of a company called Brilliant Minds, we spotted acting U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson walking out.
Mr. Thompson, can we ask you a question or two? It looks like federal agents are raiding a number of housing stabilization companies. What can you tell us about what's going on?
All I can say is we're doing search warrants.
What's the goal of this investigation, or what are you looking for?
We're investigating fraud and obviously the economic fraud.
The now unsealed search warrant details an investigation into a massive scheme to defraud the Housing Stabilization Services Program by taking advantage of the housing and drug addiction crises. It cites Carol Levin's investigation that exposed companies like Brilliant Minds billing Medicaid for services clients say they never received.
100%.
So yesterday, as I pointed out, that Donald Trump and other Republicans kept saying Democrats are trying to give illegals Medicaid and insurance and stuff like that. And I believe this is possibly what they're talking about, but this is fraud. It's not like Democrats are like, let's open up for the, illegals to get Medicaid. No, this is actual fraud. So only reason why I'm showing this is because I want to point out many different things, many different aspects of why they keep saying that the Democrats want to give illegals Medicaid. I don't think that's 100% true. What this is fraud. So if criminals are creating companies that are using laws to give illegal immigrants Medicaid coverage, that is a fraud. That has nothing to do with Democrats, but it's a loophole. And maybe that is what Donald Trump wants to shut down, but that will also cut off Medicaid to actual Americans who need the services. So let's continue to listen.
Scam.
Among the companies targeted were Pristine Health, that billed thousands of dollars claiming to help Ben and Haley Gutowski find housing, but never even met with them in person, leaving their family homeless.
They just billed us for nothing.
Agents also raided the Blaine home of two brothers, Anwar and Assad Adow, who were billing Medicaid millions of dollars through companies called Leo Human Services and Liberty Plus LLC for housing help clients told Carol Levin was completely made up.
Well, I mean, they didn't do nothing for me.
They really didn't do much of anything.
The search warrant details how provider notes done by Leo Human appear to be fake and possibly generated by artificial intelligence. It also describes forged client signatures, something Carol Levin asked Assad Adow about months ago as he walked to his brand new BMW.
We have documentation that shows you provided this record, and it's allowing your company to bill for somebody and their name. They didn't sign it. It looks like it was forged, sir.
Nothing was forged, man.
A total of 8 different locations were raided, as the federal fraud investigation is clearly heating up.
Obviously, fraud's a huge problem in Minnesota, and hopefully they'll help put a stop to some of it.
So far,
Here's more fraud.
Welcome. We will now start the press conference for Operation Twin Shield. I'll turn it over to U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services Director Joseph Etlow.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. My name is Joseph Edlow. I'm the Director Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. I'm incredibly pleased to be here today to announce the successful conclusion to Operation Twin Shield, an enforcement effort of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services with absolutely invaluable support from U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the FBI, and DEA. I especially want to thank St. Paul Field Office Director Samuel Olson, incredibly pleased for being here, as well as Abel Vecino from the FBI for joining us up here today. I also want to thank Jeff Brecht and Mike Kennard from FDNS, as well as Michael Borgen from USCIS. And also want to thank Bill McInn, our FDNS chief in Kansas City, who was on the ground during the entirety of the operation. Since September 19th, officers from our Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, working in teams, have conducted over 1,000 site visits across the Minneapolis-St. Paul and target cases involving more than 900 individuals. Our officers encountered blatant marriage fraud, visa overstays, people claiming to work at businesses that can't be found, forged documents, abuse of the H-1B visa system, abuse of the F-1 visas, and many other discrepancies. Over the course of the operation, our officers found indication of fraud, non-compliance, or public safety and national security concerns in nearly a little less than 50% of the cases interviewed. We found troubling patterns with the Uniting for Ukraine program that should have raised serious concerns under other administrations, such as an individual filing to sponsor more than 100 aliens, and organizations sponsoring hundreds. We are continuing to investigate these cases. Some of the other troubling cases that our officers found. In one case, officers identified an alien who had overstayed his visa waiver, who was the son of a known or suspected terrorist on the no-fly list. He had previously been found to have engaged in marriage fraud, which resulted in the denial of several immigration benefit requests. He was arrested and is now presently being returned to his country of origin. In another, an individual admitted to obtaining a fake death certificate in Kenya for just $100 to prove he was no longer married. In reality, his wife is alive, living here in Minneapolis, and is the mother of 5 of his children. And incidentally, he has another wife living in Sweden with whom he has an additional 3 children.
Now, I don't know where I had the mic muted, and I was pushing the mic, and it was like working, and I was taking it off. Anyway, I gotta mute it when I don't talk, so y'all don't hear me breathing because I'm fat. Anyway, that's just being an American, because we serve our people fat food. But anyway, what I was saying was, there was I brought all this up because there was Donald Trump was saying that that the Democrats are wanting to provide Medicaid for illegals. And when they provide Medicaid for illegals, I don't think it's actually Medicaid for illegals. I think it was actual fraud, but they were using the system that has loopholes that was creating this thing, and then it was actually fraud. It wasn't really people really helping anybody out. But again, this is all in Minnesota. A lot of this stuff is starting to be uncovered with the fraud scheme for providing Medicaid to illegals who weren't supposed to be getting Medicaid because they had fraudulent documents and all this stuff. And now it opened up a bigger case with illegal marriages. So with the illegal marriages, it's all tied in together. Fraud. But Donald Trump is saying that the Democrats, Donald Trump and his constituents, was saying that the Democrats are pushing this bill so it has this stuff in there. When in all actuality, it might be in there to help older people with Medicaid and other people who actually need it. Americans, real Americans who actually need it. When in all actuality, there's a bunch of fraud and stuff going on that's allowing illegals to. That's why I wanted to show both sides of the coin. I didn't want to just talk about it and not explain or try to figure out why Donald Trump and his subordinates keep saying that Democrats are providing health care for illegals. It just don't make sense. So this is why this is coming up, because of this stuff right here.
In another case, an alien entered the United States without inspection in 2023, was released by Border Patrol. The alien married a U.S. citizen while in removal proceedings and was interviewed at the Minneapolis-St. Paul USCIS field office just last week, where both he and his American spouse, stated under oath that their marriage was legitimate. The USCIS officers conducting the interview were suspicious. The site visits were authorized the same day. The American spouse ultimately that afternoon admitted the marriage was fraudulent and entered into solely for immigration purposes and withdrew her petition for that alien. This type of same-day action for interview, from interview to site visit, has really never happened before. And I am incredibly impressed and thankful to the diligent work of the agents who made that happen for the first time, but not for the last time. And finally, I wanted to note, in one case, an alien engaged in marriage fraud by taking advantage of an elderly U.S. citizen spouse, including threats and severe neglect. The American spouse was able to divorce the alien with the help of her family and caregivers, but the family still lives in fear of retaliation from the alien over the failed marriage fraud scam. These that afternoon admitted the marriage was fraudulent and entered into solely for immigration purposes and withdrew her petition for that alien. This type of same-day action for interview, from interview to site visit, has really never happened before. And I am incredibly impressed and thankful to the diligent work of the agents who made that happen for the first time, but not for the last time. And finally, I wanted to note, in one case, an alien engaged in marriage fraud by taking advantage of an elderly U.S. citizen spouse, including threats and severe neglect. The American spouse was able to divorce the alien with the help of her family and caregivers, but the family still lives in fear of retaliation from the alien over the failed marriage fraud scam. These are not victimless crimes. Every case of fraud we uncover damages our national security, undermines the integrity of our immigration system, and as I just gave you an example, has real consequences. I want the American people to know that we are declaring war on immigration fraud. We will continue to pursue those who seek to abuse our immigration.
Now, I wanted y'all to hear something. I thought they was going to have it in there, but maybe I don't want to listen to 18 minutes worth of stuff. But anyway, they basically, in this same press conference, they were saying that this never happened under Donald Trump's administration. This happened under Joe Biden's administration when this all stuff. It could have been stopped in Joe Biden's administration, but none of them did it. So they want to thank President Donald Trump and his administration for allowing them to do such a thing. Okay, it's until I wanted to show it. I was gonna look for it. Maybe I could. Maybe it's still on my computer. My computer. This is a computer. Hell, I don't even know. But I'm gonna tell y'all what. Y'all gonna everything that go good, y'all wanna blame Trump. Everything go bad, y'all wanna blame Trump too. So I just say blame Canada, honestly. Cause they be tripping. Canada be tripping. Oh, you know what? I know where to find it. Goddamn, Diddy in the news. Oh, when Diddy get to sentencing, oh, we're gonna get on that. But let me go to Fox News, because I got to get this information from Fox News, because they be having the truth. If any news source has truth in its news, it's Fox, okay? Like, trust me. Believe me, I'll never tell a lie. I don't even lie to my wife. You hear me? I would never. That's like crazy. You know, black men don't cheat or lie. Okay. Damn, man. Anyway, let's go on to the next one.
Good evening. Another group of Minnesota Medicaid providers is under fire for fraud tonight. This time tied to services meant to help adults with disabilities. We're learning state officials have suspended payments to 28 providers. It is the third state program flagged for fraud just this month. Uba Ali has more on the latest in a series of schemes draining the state of Minnesota.
I will do everything in my power to detect and prevent fraud. Payments will be shut off immediately at the first signs of fraud.
That's Department of Human Services Inspector General James Clark in front of the House Fraud Committee last week, promising to weed out bad actors. An executive order from Governor Tim Walz gave DHS additional authority, and today they used it. WCCO obtained the letter the temporary DHS commissioner sent to lawmakers stating the inspector general has been made aware of allegations of fraud in the MA Integrated Community Supports ICS program. ICS is a Medicaid service that allows adults with disabilities to live independently in community through provider-controlled settings. Since the beginning of this month, DHS suspended payments to 28 providers for billing for services that were not provided, a common thread between the recent federal fraud investigations. No charges have been announced, but state officials say we are taking more aggressive actions to stop payments, including relying on tips and data mining that demonstrate a credible allegation of fraud. It all started with the Feeding Our Future scheme, where $250 million was stolen. Last week, 8 people were charged in separate cases in a more than $8 million fraud scheme tied to a housing program. And this week, the first person was charged in a $14 million fraud case involving autism services.
In so many of these waivered services programs, they're essentially...
State officials say a payment withhold is a temporary action that is taken while an investigation is pending.
Oh, she looks Somalian too. Is she in on it? Anyway, a lot of people are saying that that all of this stuff, all this fraud stuff, is happened under Joe Biden's administration, but the actual governor of Minnesota is a Republican, Tim Walz. So, who you gonna believe? Did Donald Trump? I mean, did Joe Biden have control of what was happening under Republican Tim Walz state? You know, this is why y'all got to take accountability. People got to start taking accountability, okay? When Trump is mad at Chicago, Oregon, California, when he's mad, Chicago ain't a state. When he's mad at Illinois, Oregon, California, because they're all Democratic states, you know, he says, oh, they're not doing this, or they're not tough on crime, they're not tough on immigration, they're not doing this. But at the same time, when you have a Republican ran state by the Governor Tim Walz, lips sealed, he ain't said nothing. When the biggest crime against Medicaid and DHS and marriage to keep illegals in the country is happening in Minnesota under a Republican governor, Tim Walz. Tim Walz, I don't care. He is a Republican.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers.
Well, damn, he is a Democrat. Well, shit, guess blame the Democrats then. What's your point? Blame the Democrats. Blame him. I thought he was a Republican. Hell, because everybody keep talking about, oh, he doing this, he doing that. Damn, they don't even like him. This is why I be saying people don't like Democrats. Maybe that's why they attacking his state, because he a Democrat. And they coming after all this. Man, yeah, I just learned something my damn self. Goddamn. Well, Tim, you fucking up, Tim. Hey, I tell you when I'm wrong, Tim messing up. I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why they keep blaming Democrats for doing this. And damn, I uncovered some shit. And damn, it's Tim. Tim is a damn Democrat. So that makes sense. Tim, you need to be doing something about this. Well, I guess they are. But if Tim is the Democrat governor, why is his Justice Department going above him and thanking Donald Trump? Why they not thanking Tim for being hard on? Tim is a Democrat. He's supposed to be being hard on crime, right? Is he hard on crime? I guess not.
Of people, we don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that. We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like. And you all know Russell Vought. He's become very popular recently because he can trim the budget to a level that you couldn't do any other way. So they're taking a risk by having a shutdown because of the shutdown, we can do things medically and other ways, including benefits. We can cut large numbers of people out. We don't want to do that, but we don't want fraud, waste, and abuse. And, we're cutting that. We can do things during the shutdown.
All right. Is that a threat? Yeah, is that a threat? What you gonna do during the shutdown? Fire 750,000 government employees so we can have a better government, right? But this economy is doing so great that we have to fire employees. What does that mean? Are they gonna go out and find other jobs? Is the job economy that great? I don't know. I don't know if the job economy is that great. I haven't been in the job economy for a very long time. But I tell you what, somebody about to lose their job. You are about to lose your job. And you know what's also crazy? If you voted for Trump and you lose your job, how does that make you feel as a government employee? I wouldn't be too hot about that. If he called you non-essential and you're a hard-working American, we're going to get to that. Watch this.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
He even floated the idea of cutting benefits without saying which ones.
We can do things medically and other ways, including benefits.
Even without the fear of layoffs, if the shutdown happens, as many as 4 million federal employees could go unpaid. In Thompson, Illinois, that means prison officers already stretched thin, now pushed to the max.
We need the government to stay open so that we don't have to live off our credit cards, that we don't have to take multiple loans just to pay our mortgage, to pay our daily necessities.
And families of roughly 2 million service members could feel the pinch too. Jamie Billard, whose husband is in the Coast Guard, is preparing to tell her kids they'll have to scale back on things like dinners out and picture day at school.
What do we set as a priority? Your dad's not getting paid right now. That's our sole source of income. I said no because there's bigger things happening here.
We can do things during the shutdown that are
Are y'all happy about that? Women and children losing their health insurance, kids not being able to go to daycare, parents losing their jobs, single mothers losing their jobs. We love single mothers. If you want a campaign, just be like, look after the single mother and children. Just think about them, because every time you're going to hear it all through the night. Single mothers and children, you're going to hear that. They don't give a damn about the man. The man, he can pull himself up by his bootstraps, apparently. But people are about to lose their jobs. after this government shutdown, once they start bringing stuff back, if the Republicans don't get what they want, they're going to automatically start laying off employees. Now, I don't know if y'all are government employees, but apparently there was some rumblings about government employees having to tell Doge what they had to do at work every week. There was a letter that they had to, I don't know, email or something every week to tell them what they were going to do to see how essential of an employee they are. And you know what? 750,000 of you people who was replying back to that email will wake up without a job next week, unfortunately. And if you voted for this administration, I want you to stand on that. That's the hill you're going to stand on. You're going to be like, you know what? I believe in our president. I believe in our president's economy, that I will not just be out of a job, but I will be able to find a job immediately because the economy is booming. That's what I want you. I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear you complain. I don't want to hear you go to the news or go to any media source and be like, you know, I voted for him and I thought it was. No, don't do that, because when we had to sit through 4 years of Biden and we all was like, we didn't know where we was going because he didn't know where he was going. So we was stagnant for 4 years. Same way we had to hold that. Same way we had to hold that for 4 years. You got to do the same thing too. Okay? I'm just saying.
Reversible.
Do you think that the OMB, the executive branch, should use this shutdown as an excuse to permanently fire federal workers?
Well, I can tell you right now, the president has been a benevolent president. He is mitigating the harm right now. OMB has not come out of the blocks and fired a bunch of people. That's not what's happening.
But do you think they should?
Well, it provides an opportunity. Chuck Schumer has provided the Trump White House with an opportunity to downsize the government on priorities and policies and personnel that they deem to be non-essential. Now, Chuck Schumer has very different priorities about the federal government than
What's your priority?
Republicans.
You're the Speaker of the House. You can
I
say
certainly want to downsize the size and scope of the federal government.
So you think that people who are maybe furloughed right now, or even working without pay, should be on the chopping block for permanent dismissal?
I wouldn't say that, because the people that are furloughed right now are hardworking American federal workers.
Who should be fired during the shutdown?
I don't know. You'd have to show me a proposal of what is being presented.
I don't have a proposal.
I don't have it either, but I have a conference call with Russ Vought at OMB in about 2 hours, and we're going to ask him about the details of that. But I'll tell you right now.
So this is happening.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to find out what his plans are. But I will tell you this. Right now, who's being harmed are women, infants, and children. Their nutrition program is stalled. Veterans who are not getting their services right now, and very important services like suicide prevention. That's a day-to-day thing.
No question.
They're unfunded.
I mean, it's horrible. So
right
this is happening.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to find out what his plans are. But I'll tell you this. Right now, who's being harmed are women, infants, and children. Their nutrition program is stalled. Veterans who are not getting their services right now, and very important services like suicide prevention. That's a day-to-day thing.
No question.
They're unfunded.
I mean, it's horrible.
FEMA's not funded right now for insurance
That
policies.
is temporary. So you're going to talk to Russ Vought, and obviously we're going to ask what happens after that. But last week, he sent a memo directing agencies to start drafting plans
to
do just this.
So when
I know,
you're the director,
but you have a point of view. Can you, on that phone call, say with him, please don't do this? This is not appropriate?
No, because look, if Russ Vought has to make tough decisions. Whoever is the director of the Office of Management and Budget in a scenario like this has to make tough choices. They have to decide. They're tasked under law. They must decide what are essential services and what are not. What are policies and proposals that are priorities.
It's usually temporary under a shutdown. We're talking about permanently firing people.
Well, I'm not sure that hasn't happened before, but if the authority is there and he sees a program that is wasting taxpayer dollars, you and I could both agree the government doesn't do everything in the most efficient manner.
Isn't that constitutionally, that's your job. Article 1, that is your job.
It is until Chuck Schumer decides to hand the keys to the president, which is literally what he's doing. If he makes the decision to shut the federal government down, he's shutting down the legislative branch, and he is giving the authority to the executive. That's how the system works, and he's made that decision. So is it foolhardy for him to do so? Of course it is. Could it backfire fantastically? Yes.
Do you think that the OMB, the executive...
So what do y'all think about what he just said? I don't want y'all to comment what your feelings is about Democrats and Republicans. Right now, this is the time to speak on this particular conversation. Whereas people who are deemed non-essential, but he's talking about federal funding is cut right now because of the shutdown, which is temporary. But if you're talking about cutting 750,000 jobs in the federal government, just to give y'all a scope of what that looks like, Air Force Base such as Tinker Air Force Base has roughly, I think, 75,000 employees, maybe more. 75 to 100,000 employees, a lot. Anyway, that's just one Air Force base. So then you got to take away about 7 to 10 more Air Force bases around the country. Now, if you think about that in your city, if your city was to loot, and they're gonna be taking this out of every city. You talking about not just Air Force employees. You're talking about national park workers. You're talking about the National Weather Service. Them employees. You talking about? I mean, it's a bunch. There's a bunch of federally funded jobs. VA hospital. People that work in a VA hospital could be losing their jobs. Veterans already get shitty service as it is. Imagine downsizing the VA hospital. It's insane. I mean, we could go on and on. Medicaid. You know how long you have to wait on the phone to talk to somebody about your Medicaid? But let them downsize the people in the call center. You know, take away a few jobs, make people work harder for the money that they earn, which is already a little less. But if they have to downsize, those lower people will probably lose their jobs over somebody who's in a more senior position. So now you talk about jobs all across the board. You know, it's jobs out. That's why they had everybody sending in those emails to Doge. I don't know if Doge is Elon Musk or who it is, but apparently whoever Doge is, because Doge had made a visit to the U.S. base in Oklahoma, the Air Force base in Oklahoma, not long ago. And I don't know what Doge consists of. But all I can tell you is they were there looking for non-essential employees that they can get rid of because they're trying to downsize. And that's a fact. So y'all about to lose your job. If you voted for them, you are about to lose your job. Can you hear it?
And friends, this is not a normal government shutdown. Let me explain the stakes and how we got here. The Trump regime, along with Republicans, wanted to fund the government with a continuing resolution that would have kept existing funding levels the same. But if Democrats had accepted that deal, they would have effectively given approval to all of the terrible and wildly unpopular policies that Trump has pushed through since retaking office.
I told y'all this. If you was here last night, I told y'all this. And watch, he might, I don't know what he gonna say, but I promise you, if this man has any sense, he gonna tell y'all that they will not be able to come back after they sign. They will not be able to negotiate anything that they didn't push through in this temporary order.
That includes his funding cuts to public broadcasting and foreign aid programs. It also includes Trump's signature piece of legislation, the Big Ugly Bill, that gives the richest Americans a giant tax cut, financed largely by cuts in Medicaid, Medicare, food stamps, and clean energy programs. That Big Ugly Bill passed the Senate last July because it required only 51 Republican votes in a special rule called reconciliation. This time, Republicans needed Democratic votes to avoid a shutdown and to continue those big, ugly policies. They couldn't do it with just 51 votes. They needed more votes than that. Democrats, therefore, became suddenly important to them. Why the hell would any Democrat go along with that? I've lived through government shutdowns. Under normal circumstances, I understand why compromises are made to keep the government running. I have been in favor of keeping the government running, but our government is not running right now. It's effectively been shut down for months as Trump has destroyed checks and balances, usurped the power of the purse from Congress, and unleashed an authoritarian nightmare throughout the country. Democrats cannot cave into this shutdown. They must not operate as if what Trump is doing right now is normal, because it's not normal. In the short term, Democrats have to use their leverage to restore funding to vital programs that millions of Americans rely on, like Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act. And in the long term, they've got to paint a bigger picture for the American people about the devastating realities of Trump's regime. This is an opportunity for Democrats to fight back, not capitulate. Please.
Hey man, y'all gotta misspell cuss words in the chat, man. Y'all, come on, man. Think with your heads, man. I mean, damn, we all grown. We Americans, right? We supposed to be fighting for. Right now, we fighting for America, and y'all can't misspell cuss words in the chat. Jesus Christ, it's right there, pinned to the top. Gotta be a Republican. Goddamn Republicans. Y'all about to get these shots all night. Listen, Democrats cannot fold to this situation. Reason being, because is this best for America? Let me tell you what. If y'all don't want to see Medicaid cut, if y'all don't want to see healthcare cut, y'all don't want to see these special. If you got a kid who is troubled youth, you don't want to see these cuts. Okay, you don't want to see that. And I'm telling you, it's your everyday American. It's your average everyday American. None of y'all can afford private facilities for your troubled youth. Your child has to go to a federally funded mental health place. Your child, because you as an average everyday American cannot afford $500 to $1,000 a day. Mind you, if you have insurance, you'll have like a copay, and your maximum pay is like $10,000. So if you've only spent $1,000 on copays in the past year, you gonna have to spend up to that $10,000. That's $9,000 you're gonna have to come out of pocket. That's just 9 days of treatment when your child needs about 30 to 45 to 90 days worth of treatment. How many regular everyday Americans are willing to take on a bill of $9,000 for their child so they can put them get them the proper health care, mental health care that they deserve? Not these raggedy ass state funded programs that just put your kids in here with this that looks like a prison, a real insane asylum, instead of, because you gotta coddle these kids, you gotta coddle them. But shout out to the people who can't afford it and send their kids there. But when you do send your kids there, mind you, all the cuts for these facilities are going to be trash. Grade A trash. If you don't understand what grade A trash is listen, you're going to be dealing with your kid for a long time. But being also healthcare coverages, they used to give, I think, like 25 to 30. They used to let you see your therapist 25 to 30 times a year. 25 to 30 times a year. With all the cutbacks, they are only allowing 10 sessions with a therapist. 10. Do you hear me? 10 sessions with a therapist. I don't think y'all, if y'all have to deal with mental health very often, hopefully you don't. But if you do, you need to understand how it affects a child or an adult who can't see their therapist more than 10 times without you having to come out of pocket. It's not free. Do you pay taxes? If you pay taxes, then it's not free. It's a collective thing. We here. Y'all just be doing shit, okay? Okay. Y'all wait till this stuff pass, cause Democrats are gonna fold. Democrats are gonna fold. Wait till this stuff pass, and when your grandma come in here and ask you for $175 to afford one dose of whatever she need, whatever shot she taking or whatever pill she taking at the time, when she come in there and ask you for that insulin, whatever insulin she got to take, when she come ask you, you be like, you know what? Hey, suck it up. No more freebies, grandma. Fuck that. No more free. Tell your grandma no more freebies. If she could hit you with a left hook, she would.
If there is a shutdown, how many federal workers do you plan to lay off?
Well, we may do a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats. And as you know, they wanted to be able to take care of people that have come into our country illegally, and no system can handle that. And so we're totally opposed on that. But we can't take it. We just can't do it. I'd love to do everybody. I'd love to do the whole world. But our country can't handle people that come into our country illegally.
If there is a shutdown.
He said, I'd love to give healthcare to the whole world, except for Gaza. Israel, we're coming with a plan to help you end this war. Let's get this war over. We'll help every country, but Mexico. We don't want to help Mexico because they keep sending their people over here. Or Venezuela. We don't want to help Venezuela. They keep sending their people over. Or any Central American country because they keep sending their people over here. You know what? Anybody south of North America, we don't want to help them because they keep sending their people over here. But we'll help Greenland. We'll help Iceland, Greenland, Denmark, if you guys want to send your people, because they are good people. They're good people, wholesome people. Send us those people. Don't send us people down. Those are his words, but I'm just saying.
In my opinion, I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, and it's not going to be a horrible shutdown because, as you know, things will sort of keep
Well, there's a partial shutdown, right?
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together. In my opinion,
Did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear that? I said south of North America. Anyone south of North America. Anyway, the president has to get the blame for a government shutdown. We've heard it. You know, we heard this last time he was in office. You know why we heard this? Because there was a government shutdown for 35 days last time he was in office. So, look, man. Insulin is free in Sweden. Jesus Christ. Shout out to Sweden.
So the American people woke up this morning and asked the obvious question: why is the government shut down right now? The answer is pure partisan politics being played by the Democrat Party. The Democrats shut down the government because President Trump and the Republicans will not force American taxpayers to pay for free health care for illegal aliens. So the American people...
Are y'all hearing this? Y'all hear this, right? Now, I tried to debunk it, but obviously it was a total fail because I don't know what the hell going on in Minnesota. I'm in Oklahoma. We're a red state, buddy. And guess what? I'm pretty sure there's some illegal fraud, Medicaid fraud going on here too. But they won't expose it on the national stage because why? This is a red state, and there's fraud everywhere. But I believe that's what it is. I believe it's fraud that is plaguing our country. People are getting scammed every day. I know y'all get those scam calls every day. If you get a text, matter of fact, I'm gonna show you a text message. I'm gonna show you a text message from my phone. I ain't gonna show you. Where's my phone at? I'm gonna show you a text message. Shit was crazy. I'm like, what the fuck? This text message came in. Let's see if we can zoom in. Is it? Is coffee at lunch possible today? Bitch, who is you? I don't know. Is coffee available at lunch today? For what? Coffee for what? So this is what's plaguing America. Scams, Atlanta, and Somalia. Somalians scamming, Atlanta scams, and scams from Nigeria. Now, don't think that's racist. It's just the truth. It's just the truth. What we've seen, what's happening in Minnesota, there's an actual channel who is hell-bent on TikTok for catching Somalians doing scams. And one of them they caught was in Minnesota, and it was back in May of this year. So these people have been exposing these scams for a very long time. They're just now coming to the forefront. But we just got to stop the scams. The scams, it's not, no Democrat is telling us, nobody's saying we want to give illegal aliens freaking, because I haven't heard one Democrat say that. But I haven't heard one say that they ain't trying to do it either. So it might be some truth to it, but I don't know. I'm trying to find the truth. I'm trying to find out, because y'all, they won't give you the answer what's in the bill. Give us the answer. Quit just trying to say, oh, this is what they're doing. They won't do it because this. Telling us that the Democrats won't do it is like saying, oh, don't vote for the Democrats because they will give illegal aliens Medicare and health care. Well, how do we know that? Where's the proof at? Show us something. That I don't like the empty words. The empty words is what's really killing me about it. I hate that. They always use women and children, and Democrats want to give free stuff to illegal aliens.
What are you hearing from your former colleagues? We're talking about some 750,000 workers, 750,000. That's a huge amount of the federal workforce, not all, but that's a lot of people, and they're going to be impacted. Their families are going to be hurt if they are not getting paid. What are they worried about?
We've been hurt all year long. And this is the negotiation tactics of a bully and a wannabe dictator. Let's be very clear. This isn't like, some tough bargaining from a Trump who just wants to draw a hard line to get his position. This is a wannabe dictator, a wannabe strongman, a guy who has glorified every strong leader internationally who has trod over democratic rights of their people. We're looking at a playbook. They're hollowing out the expertise of the civil service. They're punishing dissent in every form that it takes. They're sidelining every independent agency. This is straight out of the playbook of dictators and authoritarians all over the world today and through history. We need Congress to reject the fear tactics, to refuse all bad deals, and to protect the services that the federal government is meant to provide. Because if Trump wins this shutdown, then the American people lose the government that is supposed to protect their interests potentially permanently. The stakes are much higher than the next few weeks.
What are you?
Y'all believe him? Do y'all think that he's a dictator? I don't know. What I have heard, I remember it was a clip about a few years ago where a guy was going around asking Trump supporters, do they like Russia? Or do they like Putin? Or do they like Kim Jong-un? And they were like, you know what? Some of them were like, you know what? We need Trump as a dictator. And they was like, we don't like Russia, but I'd rather have Putin than have Joe Biden. I'd rather have what? See, it seems as we're going further and further away from the core values that created this Constitution. Or create. I don't want to say created the country, because if I say we're going so far away from the core values that created this country, that was goddamn slavery, and I don't want shit to do with like we needed to get rid of that, or I wouldn't be here. But even slaves was in the Constitution, being property. So once they abolished slavery, and I want to say that's the 17th Amendment or something like that. 13th Amendment, 13th or 17th, I don't know, one of them. But anyway, slavery. What's the slavery amendment? Oh no, that's something else. That's 17th Amendment. I don't know. Let me see. Oh yeah, it's the 13th Amendment. Yeah, 13th Amendment. I was right. I know something. Yeah, the 13th Amendment. Shit. You know what I'm saying? We need to get. I would say this country is losing its value year by year. I even heard something. I was listening to something today, and it was like the white man of the past will be more racist and dictatorshipish than they were. The white man and the racists of today will be far worse than what they were in the past. And you see it every day. Charlie Kirk, you see, I'm not gonna say Trump, because Trump is not racist, but the racists think he is, but he's not racist. Okay, but many others, there are many others who are pushing this agenda to save the white race. They call it the Great White Flight. Okay, where white, I don't even know what they call it that, but it's a white men want to preserve their legacy in America. And I mean, they can keep what they want. You just got to keep y'all women over there, but y'all can't, because they always want a chocolate man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just clowning. I'm just clowning at this point. But in all actuality, we're gonna have a dictator, because the reason is Trump don't really care about America. He care about himself. Now, not to say that he's not doing things for Americans, but you have to be a rich American to actually benefit for some of the things that he does. Now, this will continue to rile up his base, because he keeps telling y'all big words. He gives y'all words that make y'all believe in him, like big beautiful bill. That just sounds. You think about how a salesman works. I gotta grab their attention. What sounds good? Big beautiful bill. Okay, big beautiful bill. How do ask ChatGPT? Just go to your ChatGPT and say, how do I how do I create a false narrative and make something as negative as possible? And if I say it over and over, that people start to believe it. ChatGPT will be like, use radical, use terrorists, use thieves, use keep downing people. If you keep downing people, that's why you call them a bully. If you keep downing people, people will start to believe it. People will start to believe it, unfortunately. But, again, y'all silly. Y'all, Catherine, you just silly. She said, read a book. Read a book. Catherine, do you see what's going on your TV? What will reading a book help? If you can't see what's going on right in front of your eyes, you're not going to find this in a book. You go read all the books you want to read. Okay? Read 1,000 books, okay? None of them will explain to you why we are about to have a dictator. Because you voted. Catherine, you're the voter. You wanted this. Catherine, see, Catherine seems like she don't want to admit. Catherine is going to be one of them people who's having to pay $750 a month for insulin to pump up her ass because she voted for this bill that's taking away her Medicaid. And I'm pretty sure Catherine ain't got nothing but Medicaid. Catherine is probably unemployed. Okay? Catherine is probably sitting in she's probably sitting in her lazy boy recliner watching Everyday PJ on her phone, angry tapping with her hand knitted quilt laying across her waist. this black boy, he stupid. He don't know how to read a book. Read a book. Go read a book. Girl, if you don't know what's going on right in your face, see, that's at least if I know I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. See, people like Catherine won't admit that they wrong. Y'all won't admit that y'all wrong. Y'all won't admit that. See, I think some of y'all are so far down the Trump hole that you're like, fuck it, let's go with it. We just gonna keep going. Like, no, stupid. Like, push back. Talk to your local authorities and be like, hey, yo, I understand that Trump want to do this, but here we still have to figure out some type of health care for our old. So how are we gonna help our elderly? But nope, y'all don't want to do that. Y'all want to sit around because your community only got like 600 people because you stay in rural fucking Montana and nobody cares about you, Catherine. Like, seriously. You probably y'all don't even have real streets. Y'all don't even have real streets, I don't like people who sit around and not even from a big city, probably don't even care about their grandma. She probably buried in the backyard after she got a certain age and nobody know because you live in Idaho, in the fucking panhandle of Idaho, which is like way up there in the damn, like, nobody cares, Catherine. Nobody cares. Talk about read a book. All you do is sit on your TV all day watching watching Fox News and then sit up there. Man, you know how I know old people, all they do is sit up there and watch Fox News or CNN. My grandma, I go over to her house, it be hot than the motherfucker over there. I talk to y'all about how old people houses always be hot. And go over there and goddamn, she watching Fox News. I'm like, Grandma, why you always arguing with Fox News? Every time I come over here, you argue. Because you got to watch them. They be up to no good. They sneaky. They sneaky little bastards. They be trying to do it. I was like, Grandma, just turn them off. They ain't talking about nothing. They lying to you, Grandma. She like, yeah, you gotta watch them. And she be like, let me come on your show so I can tell people. So I gotta give them a piece of my mind. I'm like, Meemaw, you're not finna get on my damn show. Not with that shit. My Meemaw is coming. She coming to tell y'all about Fox News and how they be lying to everybody. If y'all want the best political pundit in Oklahoma, my Meemaw, yeah, she watch Fox News daily. I be like, girl, you gonna keep on? You gonna turn into a Republican? Then I'm gonna have to kick you out the family.
And he tried to hand you that Trump 2028 hat. What was your reaction?
Well, actually, he did not try to hand Leader Schumer and I the Trump 2028 hat. They just randomly appeared in the middle of the meeting on the desk. It was the strangest thing ever. And I just looked at the hat, looked at J.D. Vance, who was seated to my left, and said, don't you got a problem with this? And he said no comment. And that was the end of it.
All right, Leader Jeffries, thank you very much for joining. And he tried to hand...
What does that mean to you, Trump 2028?
It means that President Trump could be our president again.
Does it bother you that it's in the Constitution, that it's one of the amendments that he can't do 3 terms?
Well, maybe the amendment could be changed with Congress. It's possible. So let's see what happens.
Would you be okay with the Second Amendment being changed?
The only thing I want about the Second Amendment to be changed for would be to, like voter ID. Just make sure that they have ID for people that are...
I'm asking about guns. If the right for Americans to keep and bear arms were taken away, would that be okay?
No, absolutely not.
So what's the difference between that amendment and the other one that you just want removed?
Because one of them creates a policy, and the other one is a original. See, the change was not the original right of our country in the policy. It was not the originally in the Constitution 2 terms. It came in later at a later time. Okay.
Right, the Second Amendment is an amendment to the Constitution. You don't seem like you're stuck on all the amendments necessarily. So I'm asking if you'd be okay tossing out the Second Amendment.
No, I wouldn't be.
Yeah. What does that?
Shit, I was on mute again. God damn it. Anyway, there go I was showing y'all Trump. I had to leave y'all with that 2028 thing because that, this is what y'all think about this as Americans. What do y'all think about Trump 2028? It's in the Constitution that a president is to serve for 2 terms, no matter how it's served. And of course, Trump got his 2 terms. So, what do y'all think? I don't want no damn notifications. What do y'all think? Should Trump get more than 2 terms? Dictatorship. Let's talk about it. Is this what are y'all willing? Y'all are not willing to give up the Second Amendment, but he can. Red Planet says he cannot be allowed to have a 3rd term. Look at the hat. Look at who's in power. Trump 2028. Let's go back to the other picture. I said it was this is J.D. Vance. You can see his shoulder right here, but if you're watching on the big screen, you can see his sideburns. There's Trump. There's his sideburns. I can't scoot the picture over because whatever's going on. Oh, I know what I did wrong. Shit, I thought I locked it, but I don't know. That's not it. Yeah, anyway, I can't even change it, but anyway. What kind of smile? You see that smile he got on his head? This is what happened. Hakeem Jeffrey said they were just sitting in the office. The hat came out of nowhere, and boom, it's sitting on the table, right in front of the drinks. So, what do y'all think about this? He's just trolling Democrats. You think this is trolling? Let's say this. Do you think it's appropriate? Do you think it's appropriate for your commander-in-chief and his constituents to be trolling at such a time like this? Y'all think so? I mean, if we was on social media and we was just talking shit back and forth, I think it's a great time to troll. But during a government shutdown, while we're having a meeting to come to a resolution to open up the government, do you think that's a proper time to troll Democrats? Regardless if it's working or not, do you think it's a proper time? Do you think that, oh, you know what, let me get under their skin. This will make them show their true colors. Here, let me put a Trump 2028 hat on the table. Let's see what they think about that. Let's see how that makes them feel. Man, come on, man. Y'all gotta think. Y'all gotta think, like, seriously. 750,000 jobs. Regardless, that's less than 0.33% of Americans right now. That's a small percentage of Americans. But that's a vastly large percentage of Americans that have insurance within their companies. Single mothers and children. I'm gonna use tax. Single mothers and children. Okay, tax-paying citizens. Do you think it's right to be trolling at a time like this? I don't think so. Absolutely not. But hey, at this point, what can you expect? I can expect this from a random person in the comments who thinks that we deserve 1,000 more years of MAGA. Great. More power to you. But, listen, man. The Make America Great Again, I don't know. Can we just make America great? That'll be great. We don't have to be MAGA. We can be just MAG, because we got to make America great. But we can't, because we all Americans at the end of the day. I keep telling y'all this. We all Americans at the end of the day. Whether y'all want to believe it or not, whether y'all want to work together or not, we still got to work together. At this point right now, we got jobs on the line. And the only thing people can think about is, he's just trolling. Who the fuck wants a trolling president when the whole government is shut down? People's livelihoods is at stake. But let's troll the lead Democrat, the head Democrat, or whatever you want to call it.
The Trump trolling him with 28 hats.
Yeah, thank you, Lawrence. That's the most important part. There were also the Trump 2028 hats, which I think made the majority or the minority leader in both the House and the Senate very uncomfortable. But look, it was the four of them plus me and the president, and we were having a very good conversation about healthcare policy. But the president finally sort of threw up his hands and said, guys, let's absolutely work on this healthcare policy disagreement. We want to fix this issue for the American people, but we're not going to be taken hostage. We're not going to.
The Trump trolling him with.
Bro, this has got to be a lie. We want to do the Medicaid. We want to do the healthcare thing. No, you don't. You just said you don't want to do it. You're cutting healthcare policies in your big, beautiful bill. See, man, okay. J.D. Vance has said it once. We're willing to work with you on this Medicaid bill. Now we got to hear Trump say it. And then once you start hearing Trump say it, then you're going to start hearing the other guy, the Republican head of Congress. You're going to start hearing him say it. Then you're going to start hearing Senator Langford say it. Then you're going to start hearing this person say it. Watch tomorrow. Tomorrow when we go live, watch how many people say, you know, we're ready to work with them on healthcare. We're really trying to get this done. Oh, they sent out a bullet point. Hey, these are tomorrow's talking points. Make sure you say this 1,000 times so it'll become true. Everybody say whatever they want to say just to make it true, but it be lies.
The Trump organization is selling hats that say Trump 2028.
Yeah.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution? Or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it. I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it.
To the best of his knowledge, bro, you got to at least know number 1 through 7 in the Constitution as the President of the United States. Oh, but he's not a lifelong politician, so he don't know none of the Constitution. Matter of fact, he didn't even take American history in college. Okay? Damn that. To the best of your knowledge, that is his way of saying, oh, I didn't know, so it doesn't matter because I didn't know it was in there. I thought I could run for 3 terms. I didn't know it was in there. But maybe we should amend that. Guess what's going to be on the next ballot? Guess what's going to be on the next ballot? Amending the Constitution for a 3rd term. You know who's going to vote for it? You said it, the Democrats. The Democrats would love to have a 3rd term of Obama. I don't know about that one. Maybe so. But we definitely need a 3rd term. And it looks like Trump 2028 is about to happen. Just because he's pushing it out there, I have no doubt in my mind that Donald Trump will be pushing for an amendment to turn this Trump 2028 into a real thing. And I'm going to tell you what, if that happens, he will be the first president to have 3 terms. And you know what? He will etch his name in history books forever with that bold move. And it's brilliant, but it's stupid because we need change in America right now. I don't want to hear nothing about Joe Biden. I don't want to hear don't talk to me. Don't say, well, what about Joe Biden? F Joe Biden. We need something better than this. We need somebody who's not old and senile, somebody who's not gonna be trolling when the government is shut down. We need somebody who's not gonna be on a political A political revenge tour. We don't need none of that. We need somebody who's going to really sit back, talk to different Americans, Republican or Democrat, work with both parties, and be bipartisan by favor, but either Democrat or Republican by choice. Like, you got to be able to run both. I don't ever remember politics being so dramatic growing up. I always knew it was something. It was like, it's always been big. But I remember talking to my friend every day about the shit that Trump used to say or do every day. And it used to be so funny. We had the funniest conversations. And then when Joe Biden got into office, it was like, man, politics is boring again. Like, politics are boring again. What? Lower prescriptions 1,500%. Please. I agree with a lot of shit. We need somebody who be for the people. Absolutely, Antoinette. We need somebody to be for the people. Like, what are we talking about? Healthcare is one. I definitely agree with Trump. Also, shouldn't serve a third term. Trump trying to get a third term with his hood rat friends. For real. Hey, I'ma just be real. Like I said, hey, I be Republican for pay. If they pay me well, I be, man. If Trump pardon me, if Trump pardon my felonies, man, I'll be out this bitch. I'll be like, Trump 2028. Man, if you gonna give me a job on the Hill, Trump, let me be your media coordinator. Okay? I wouldn't be no better, no worse than them ignorant fools you got up there right now. Bro, for real. Like, yeah. I'm for the money. I'm for the money. That's what I'm talking about. I'm trying to build generational wealth. I'm not loyal to a party. But what I will say, no, I wouldn't do that. I'm not a sellout. But what I will say is, if Trump was to hire me, I'd be like, I'd take it. It's the president. You think I wouldn't want to work for the president? I don't give a damn. I told you I'm still an American at the end of the day. But you know what I'm not finna do? I'm not finna sit up here and be lied to and be shucking and jiving. Nobody ain't finna lie to me in my face. Oh, we did. No. But you know what? I wouldn't even no, I take that back. I wouldn't want to work for him, because then he'll get mad at you and fire you. Because if you don't do what he say to do, he gonna fire you. If you have a difference of opinion from him, he'll fire you. Trump will not accept someone disagreeing with him, and he has the rule to fire that person and let them go. That is how he's basically started a indictment of James Comey. He doesn't like James Comey. He wanted to indict him. He told the judge to indict him, or the lawyer to indict him, the U.S. Attorney to indict him. And the U.S. attorney said, I will not indict him. What did Trump do? Fired him. And guess what he did? Hired somebody who's going to go indict him. What did she do? She indicted him. Point blank, period. And you know what? And guess what? Her whole life is leveled up. Now, could you go home and sleep at night after a night of sleeping with Trump? I don't know. But what I will say is, her family taken care of. She did what she had to do. Now, I ain't saying it's right. All I'm saying is, oh my God, that's crazy. All I'm saying is, it happens. What else we got?
Hey, Anthony.
Oh yeah, we need this.
What are your thoughts on the military gathering that happened today? Unfortunately, it is pretty much exactly what I and other content creators predicted it would be, which is to say that it was a call for an oath of loyalty to the Trump administration and a chance for them to continue their war, literally in their words, against the left in the United States, as well as implement or re-implement a bunch of bigoted policies in the U.S. military.
How did they use this meeting to target the left?
Well, Trump spent basically his entire 62-minute speech calling the left the enemy within. He's, reminded the military leaders that their oath of office essentially calls for them to protect the United States from enemies both foreign and domestic, and he really emphasized domestic. He calls the left the enemy within, and then he tells the military that they should use American cities, which notably tend to be left, as training grounds for the military. So he's suggesting that they go in and take violent military action against U.S. citizens. He tells ICE, and presumably the military as well, which he's tried to deploy to U.S. cities previously, that they should do whatever they want to protesters, which are no different from any foreign enemy. And, completely putting aside all of the fascist nonsense for just a moment, although we will certainly talk about that, the idea of the U.S. military attacking American cities as a whole, because he really emphasizes the whole idea of American cities are where the enemy is. American cities, metropolitan areas, account for 90% of the U.S. GDP and 80% of the U.S. population. So what Trump is really calling for is for the military to attack and disrupt American cities, which account for the majority of the population and economic prosperity of the country. So if they did that, the country would basically fall apart even faster, which I think is part of the plan. So he says all of this, and then he tells these generals there, which these are the top people in the U.S. military. They've earned their stripes. They've come from all over the world at great expense to U.S. taxpayers and, I'm sure huge security concerns to come sit for what essentially is a high school level rant from Trump and Hegseth. And he tells them that if they don't like what they're hearing, they can leave, and then he threatens their careers and futures, right? This is Trump, a notable draft dodger and convicted sexual offender, and Pete Hegseth, a Fox News anchor, speaking this way to some of the top military commanders in the world. And then on top of everything Trump said, which is of course bad enough by itself, Hegseth takes the time to say a bunch of racist, sexist, misogynistic, and homophobic nonsense. It calls for re-implementation of all sorts of related policies in the U.S. military, specifically using a lot of right-wing dog whistles and terminology that was very common back in the 90s about physical fitness tests, and we're going to do these American Warrior top-level male peak physical fitness tests, and if women can't do them, that's their fault and they just won't be admitted. Of course, in line with MAGA and Project 2025, he talks a lot about gay and transgender military members and how they shouldn't be allowed to serve, and he even calls for the reintroduction of military hazing rituals that were banned decades ago for very good reason. So the whole speech by both Trump and Hegseth is just awful, very fascist. The whole idea of there being an enemy within and that we need to return to the good old days. The call for the personal oath of loyalty from the military tracks incredibly clearly with all sorts of different fascist dictatorships that have existed in the past, and is, very scary for the path that the United States is going down at this time.
We're going to get to that right now.
This, and I want to be very clear about this, this is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. That is not the intent, but it could be the result, so be it. It will also mean that weak men won't qualify because we're not playing games. This is combat. This is life or death. As we all know, this is you versus an enemy hell-bent on killing you. To be an effective, lethal fighting force, you must trust that the warrior alongside you in battle is capable. War does not care if you're a man or a woman. Neither does the enemy. Nor does the weight of your rucksack, the size of an artillery round, or the body weight of a casualty on the battlefield who must be carried. This is not about preventing women from serving. We very much value the impact of female troops. Our female officers and NCOs are the absolute best in the world. But when it comes to any job that requires physical power to perform in combat, those physical standards must be high and gender neutral. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. Today, at my direction, each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only. I'm also directing that warfighters in combat jobs execute their service fitness test at a gender-neutral, age-normed male standard scored above 70%. Simply put, if you do not meet the male-level physical standards for combat positions, cannot pass a PT test, or don't want to shave and look professional, it's time for a new position or a new profession. But if the words I'm speaking today are making your heart sink, then you should do the honorable thing and resign. For too long, we've promoted too many uniformed leaders for the wrong reasons, based on their race, based on gender quotas, based on historic so-called firsts. We became the woke department. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. We are done with that. Each service will ensure that every requirement for every combat MOS, for every designated combat arms position, returns to the highest male standard only. This is not about preventing women from serving. If women can make it, excellent. If not, it is what it is. If that means no women qualify for some combat jobs, so be it. Frank?
The military just became so much more dangerous for women. In 2004, when I was 19 and stationed overseas, I was strangled and assaulted by a military officer. Now, mind you, this was 1 year before the anonymous reporting option came out, which helped advocate for victims of sexual assault. And today, Pete Hegseth described how he's going to roll back those changes. I can tell you the hell that it is when you report something in the military as a young 19-year-old E2 stationed overseas. I'll leave out all of the details, but it wasn't someone I knew, and they were tried in a court of their peers and sentenced to prison. So justice was served. It was the scariest thing I've ever been through in my entire life. It would have happened a year later. I would have had many more resources to help me. The military just became so much more dangerous.
Embarrassing because I'm speaking in front of people who have a job that other people don't want, but now you have a job that everybody wants. So I think that has to make you feel good. It's one of the reasons I love being here today, because I wanted to say that. I have to say that everybody wants to be in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. If you think the Coast Guard and Space Force. And you must have felt like hell when you have a wife or a husband at home, and you used to read the numbers that we can't get people to join the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. You must have felt like, I have a job that nobody wants. That doesn't feel good. Well, now you have a job that is brimming over with people wanting it. They want it. And you're able to get a much higher quality because now you have your choice. You want so many. And we're going to have many, many people that aren't going to be able to join because of the fact that we don't need them at this moment. But think of it, what a difference that is from, I could just imagine 2 years ago, you're reading front page articles in the New York Times, of course, and Wall Street Journal. They always give us unfair stories. But they played it so big. They were playing it so big. Nobody wants to join the Army, the Marines, the Air Force. They don't want to join. They don't want to join the Coast Guard at all. Nobody wants to join. Nobody wants to join our police forces. Our police forces also. It's almost went hand in hand. And I used to say, boy, I'm speaking in front of the military today, and it's embarrassing because I'm speaking in front of people who have a job that other people don't want, but now you have a job that everybody wants. So I think that has to make you feel good. It's one of the reasons I love being here today, because I wanted to say that. I have to say that everybody wants to be in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. If you think the Coast Guard and Space Force, our beautiful Space Force, it's a whole different world. And now they're signing up, by the way, seriously big numbers for the police. Dangerous job, isn't it? Huh? Fire department. But that's the paving the way for progress once thought almost impossible. I mean, a year ago, you wouldn't have thought that was possible.
Hey, do y'all catch how he just be throwing words in there? It's like he's reading a teleprompter and then the sentence ends at the end of the teleprompter and then he got to go back to the beginning. Just check this out.
Me, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines. If you think the Coast Guard and Space Force, our beautiful Space Force, it's a whole different world. And now they're signing up, by the way, seriously big numbers for the police. Dangerous job, isn't it? Huh? Fire department. But that's the paving the way for progress once thought almost impossible. I mean, a year ago, you wouldn't have thought that was possible. A year ago, they were talking about making the military smaller because they can't get the people to join. We're thinking about making it larger because we have so many people. And it's nice to...
All right, Lance, what question did you answer? I hope you did answer a lot of the questions because I want y'all to answer. I want y'all to discuss within the chat because I periodically monitor the chat and I see what's going on and I just but you know, this Friday we will do a call in. Friday, it's gonna be late. It's gonna be like 10 or 11 because I got a domino tournament and your boy be slamming bones. No, actually, my mother owns a historic theater and we doing a fundraiser here in Oklahoma City. So if y'all want to donate, y'all can go to jeweltheater.com or whatever and donate to that, to the theater. But also, and it was the first black-owned theater where, like, you know, it's for black people, you know what I'm saying? Where when black people was downtown before, you know, being displaced and disenfranchised due to civil rights and, you know, firebombs and all that crazy shit. But I'll be at that domino tournament. But after that, we're going live. So Lance, call in. I want everybody to call in. Last Friday, I was having I had some sinus. I had a sinus cold or something like that, and my damn mama gave me some damn nighttime sinus medicine. I'm sitting over there getting ready for my live, and I'm like dozing off. I'm like, man, what the hell she gave me? So I was about to go live, and I was like, bro, I'm gonna fall asleep on live. And I called, hey, did you just give me some nighttime medicine? And she went and looked and was like, I'm sorry. I was like, girl, hey, look here, man. That was the best sleep I got in weeks, though. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, that was my bad. We're gonna blame my mama, though, for that. But other than that, yeah, we're gonna keep it lit. Oh, yeah. There you go. Thank you, Urban Girl. Appreciate you for putting that in the chat. But yeah, y'all could donate to that because, you know, we trying to rebuild that theater, and my mom has done a lot of footwork for that. And again, you know, as the owner, I don't own it, but I would love for it to see it in fruition in her lifetime. Okay, yeah, we got a domino tournament that we're doing this Friday, and as you know, I just support everything she do as she supports my crazy ass YouTube channel. So, yeah, man, we're gonna keep it lit. We're gonna be back tomorrow night. Thank everybody for pulling up. I don't know what we're gonna talk about tomorrow night. We got some more stuff. Maybe I'll try to answer some of this. I'll try to re-answer the question of the government shutdown and the Medicaid. Cause I'll tell you, I don't even be reading it. I don't watch this shit. I just find the content and I'll watch it as soon as we see it. So y'all see what I see as I see it. I don't even pre-watch it because some of it, if it's like 30 seconds, I'll watch it and be like, all right, it's enough information. But I be trying to get like 2-minute clips, 3-minute clips so we can get a full context. Obviously, presents as polite and reasonable, but I think it's very questionable to say there's a conversation to be had, takes agree with, and disagrees with. Yeah. Thank you, Balkanic King, Chris Chorizo, Urban Girl, Lance, everybody in the chat. We had Joker TV up in this thing. Robert, shout out to my boy T6, Sheila, Aisha, Bromine, Chris, everybody. Whether you like it or hate it, we gonna be up in this thing, okay? Everybody, Mr. Brad, everybody, okay? We're gonna be back tomorrow, so thank y'all. We're gonna keep it lit. Big dog on the set, cuz. I'll holler at y'all later. I'm gonna get my music on. We're gonna get the music in this bitch.